Okay, next we have up Representative Randy Maggard. He will be talking to us today about his first year in office. Representative Maggard was born in Dade City and raised in Zephyrhills. He attended Zephyrhills High School, where he met his wife, Colleen. He received his associate's degree from PHCC, which now is Pasco Hernando State College. He's the vice president of Sonny's Discount Appliances, the father of 3 grown children, and grandfather to 3 wonderful children. Representative Maggard values his time spent with his family and his church, along with enjoying outdoor activities such as hunting and fishing. He's also a rancher who is dedicated to water and wildlife conservation, not only in Pasco County, but also the great state of Florida. Representative Maggard was elected to the Florida House of Representatives on June 18th, 2019. And I have to say thank you, because in his first year, he was very instrumental on the House side for our state appropriation that we received for the 301 Pretty Pond 301 Medical Arts Court appropriation, which the city issued a notice to proceed this past Monday. So soon you will see silt fence going up and construction beginning there. Representative Maggard serves on the following subcommittees: the Business and Professions, Health Quality, Higher Education Appropriations, Local Administration, and Joint Select Committee on Collective Bargaining. Representative Maggard.
Thank you for that introduction. And I am proud to say I'm a bulldog, even though the other guy would not, who just left. So it's tough to follow the senator. You really need to thank him for all he does. We adopted him as our senator here, and he has really done a lot more for East Pasco than a lot of people will ever know. So when you have the opportunity to see him, say thank you. About to the part of the introduction about me being around my family, you can probably ask my son Lee later if they agree with that same scenario. They like me being around, so you can do from there. Thank you for having me here today. And when I was talking to Melody a little bit about what to talk about today, she says, I'd really love to hear what your first year was like, what it was like being a redshirt freshman, which is a little worse than being a freshman, really. But for me, I actually loved it a lot more than I realized. When you can walk something through, do something for your community, fight for it, and be able to bring it back, it's really a reward for me as much as it is probably the citizens. Because the process it takes to get something across that finish line was way more difficult than I ever thought. And then you throw COVID into it when the governor can veto things, and you're working every minute of the day to follow that bill or your appropriation to see where it gets diverted, where it gets stopped, what's happening with it, all the way through to the end. And then at the end, then you just pray that the governor signs it. And then then you shift from the House to the governor's office to do that. And I was really blessed this last time to be able to have 2 appropriations that were passed and 2 projects that were passed for our east side. So I had a wonderful year, I thought. It is extremely busy. You cannot, you really underestimate the time that it takes, especially when you're in session. It's just about 24/7, 7 days a week, because there is so much going on in 60 days. It is so fast. It is just absolutely amazing. And you really can't, it's sort of like, if you're into sports, it's sort of like going from little league to high school. The whole speed of the game speeds up. Well, this is like going from little league to pro, because life is, it's sort of like my son said about college. There is no time there. Everything is nonstop. Time doesn't mean anything in Tallahassee. So I had to get to speed, but I absolutely enjoyed it. It is great to be able to work for East Pasco. It was wonderful to be able to go through the process. I had a lot of great mentors. The senator was one. It's just at the end of the day, to be able to take a project, especially if you take, Pretty Pond, and watch it come through and realize what it will do. And as you have to debate that, because you're fighting for it, because there's 120 members all after the same budget. They're all wanting their projects are better than mine. and you're there debating with all the chairs, all the appropriations chair, and you're pitching as much as you can why my project is important to my community. And fortunately for me, being in sales, I just get to sell something again. So it was sort of easy for me to be able to go pitch something. I didn't have to learn. I had to really change my mind. I said, this is like pitching a washing machine. I'm just pitching now $5 billion for a road construction or whatever the number of case may be. But it is very rewarding for that. And I really look forward to this coming session. If I'm elected on the 3rd, and hope everybody does vote, is one of our greatest rights in this country. Going forward, it will be a little bit challenging on appropriations of money. You heard the senator. We're going to be down. When you have that much of your businesses not producing revenue, something's got to give. But I think we can do it. One thing, being a part of a state like this, we do have a rainy day fund. And there are very smart people up there, like the senator, that is able to take this budget and through the House and the Senate to be able to find this way that we can do as much as we can. We just don't know yet. So on the appropriation side, you know, I've talked to Billy about it a little bit. Keep them, ask what you want to do. You know, November the 17th, if I'm elected, we will have committee week starting, and we'll get a feel of what's going to happen. We'll have some numbers back, and if you have numbers, you can run numbers to see what we can do and see what we think we can get or cannot get. So it's still sort of up in the air. But I just want you to know, at the end of the day, I'm there to fight for Zephyrhills, because Zephyrhills has been extremely good to me and my family, and my family still lives here today for that. You know, the pandemic really caught all of us a little off guard. If you were not an essential, it was really rough. You know, our office held many phone calls and emails trying to help individuals who lost their job to get state funding. And it was overwhelming. And I want to thank Jeff and Robin. It was very humbling to see what happens to your neighbors and friends here. And we all know the system didn't work exactly like it was supposed to. But perspective, you must look like, you know, if you know, I sort of looked at it for the first 60 days, like in my business. If I can deliver 20 items a day, I'm set up for that. But if I have to deliver 1,000 the next day, I got a problem. Well, we had a problem because it was millions, not thousands, that we were dealing with. So a lot of things didn't work out like we thought. Learned a lot from it, which you usually do in the middle of a problem. And we have some things to solve out of that also. But we were able to just about assist just about every citizen with some kind of need here in our district. So I'm very proud of that for what our staff did and how they handled that. And you wouldn't believe the things they had to go through. You wouldn't believe the things they were called. But you know, when you're desperation and you don't know where your next check's coming from, I completely understand that. And it was tough. We learned a lot. I learned a lot from it in our business. We learned a lot from it in our area, and I think we learned a lot of it in Tallahassee. I am thankful we do have a rainy day fund to be able to do what we did. But I think when we come back to session, we're going to address some of those issues that we had some holes in the dike that we need to fix. But I think we can do that. I think we can actually solve that. But I think at the end of the day, Florida will come out of this extremely well, just because how it's been ran. You know, the legislators before me were always planning for the what if, whether it's a hurricane, a pandemic. We didn't even think about this part, but we were able to absorb a lot of that and not be able to affect the state. And a lot of things people don't even know we're affected, which we feel good about that. We just want it to end. We just want to move on. All of us, especially if you wear glasses, don't like masks because they fog up and you can't see nothing. And you know, you go to speak and you wear a mask. It's grateful to be able to take it off, and I can't read half of what I'm supposed to say because my glasses are fogged. But the senator's so right in what he's saying is just use common sense. You know, it's no different when it's flu time. You know, if somebody's got the flu, stay home. You're sick. Don't spread it. Wash your hands. You know, it's really common sense stuff. And this will pass, and it will go over like anything else. Americans are very resilient, and and we can get through that. A couple of things going into the future that it looks like if everything goes away, we will be running, actually the senator and I will be running our reclaimed water bill again. And I think this time we'll be able to push it over the line. That will be very important to the state as a whole, because it will be a statewide plan. Southwest Florida Management District is the best reclaim organization, SwiftMud, there is in the nation, by far. People come here, Israel comes here to see what we do. And we're going to take that and use that model and take it across the state. You know, we can thank County Commissioner Oakley when he was chairman, and he knows what I'm talking about, what it takes to get to this stage. The water issue, I can say this, and I think I can say this in full confidence. We understand the problems with water. We know how to fix it. We know what causes it. Now it takes two things, time and money. But we know what the problem is, though. Solving the problem, figuring it out is the hardest thing most of the time. We know what the problem is with water and the environment. They go hand in hand. And we're on, you know, use the example of Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay 20 years ago was dead. Now it's back sportsman paradise. You can go there and catch a snook where you couldn't do that. And it was all because of the systems that were in place to handle nitrates. And that's the key. When you fertilize your yard, think about what you're doing. It's just sort of like the pandemic. It's just, you got to realize what's causing it, and that's what it is. And we have systems out there that we can solve that. So what we do need, and what the plan of this goal is to have a statewide reclaim system so that we can save millions and millions of gallons of water a day. You will start seeing things in new homes like gray water. So if anybody's got an RV, you understand what gray water is. That's what you take that water to flush your toilet with, because you don't need clean water to do that. So now we can take all this water that you use out your washing machine or your dishwasher or whatever it may is, we can sub it. And when you need to use it to your utilities, we can use that water, so you get to use it twice. Well, that's just smart technology. That's just smart thinking. Nobody will know the difference. So this part of the plan to reclaim, this is what it addresses as we go forward all the way to septic to sewer. Because sooner or later, we understand if you go to a spring, you can go to a place that has a septic, you can flush a dye pack, then you can see it come out one day. Okay, so we know we got a septic problem, right? So either we got to put a different septic tank in, or we got to hook it to utilities. Well, we know what the problem is. Now we just got to solve it. And we're on the way to that. We're putting money into that. And this is really just a little bit a part of what this reclaim does. But this bill will be extremely important for Floridians down the road, and our children and my grandchildren. And that's one reason I'm here and what I do. I want them to have the life, be able to swim at Crystal Springs. That's where I learned to swim. Keep that thought out of your mind for a minute. Same way I did, to be able to do that. And that's why I do what I do here today for that. That's the other thing we're going to take a look at is, and actually if Danny gets elected, which I think he will, I feel pretty confident, we're going to look at a project called Rural Roads Initiative. There really shouldn't be in our day dirt roads in communities. There really shouldn't be. But it gets back to money. So, you know, I always, you know, Simons is getting paved, right? I haven't been down in a while. Is it paved? Maybe done. I haven't been down in a while. So you take a road like that, it's been dirt. I lived right up the road from it forever. Well, that was a great road if you're coming from Fort King, needed to get over to Island or get over the way, but you know, it was a washboard. Well, the problem is when you take what it costs to build a road, then you got to divide it by the people who lived on it. And back then it was like 6, you know, they couldn't afford it. Well, you know, I started thinking about this and said, you know, we do this with water. We partner with cities. We partner with counties to do a water project. Why can't we do the same thing in a road project? Take something, and Simons is just an example. There are places around here that have that, and the people can't afford to do it. So we're exploring that to see, maybe even get a test pilot for East Pasco, that we can help address some of these roads that really just need to be paved, where these communities are growing up, give another exit or entrance, and be able to assist the community and the city or the county to be able to address that. So those are really the two that we're focused on at the moment. We're not trying to get too rambunctious just because we just don't know what's ahead of us yet. But overall, I'm looking forward to it. I really enjoyed last time. My wife said he enjoyed it too much. And I'm looking forward to doing it again and serving East Pasco. You got any questions? Man, I like this crowd. Oh, my pleasure. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Really, I did. Thank you all again for having me.